Hello and welcome to Super Series production car racing on the 7 Network. Second round, in fact, of the Super Series coming to you from the Adelaide International Raceway. Evan Green, a series that's already had some controversy.
There have been 2 cars disqualified after last week's Calder race. We'll see one of them here. That's Jim Finico in the Starion. But despite the fact that he had trouble in the Starion last week, there are 9 of them in the race today. This is Mitsubishi's home territory, so they're out for a big showing. 9 Starions against 3 Alfa Romeos, against 3 BMWs and a couple of Falcons. It's very much a circuit that'll suit the turbos, but the Alphas have put in very fast times in practice.
Yes, I was going to say the GTV6s and the BMWs, I guess we can allow them a couple of runs to get into gear. Do you think we're going to see a better showing today?
I think we will. Colin Bond is very close, as is Gerard Murphy. 2 Alphas are right up among, 5 Starions. And Colin Bond particularly is out for a really good showing. Yes, we can expect to see the Italian cars doing well. They don't like, as do the German BMWs, being humbled by Japanese cars.
No.
This is their territory, racetracks. But of course here, the Mitsubishis are going to be very hard to beat. This is a power circuit with a long straight, and that should suit the turbos.
Oh, to the uninitiated in motor racing, Group E doesn't really mean much. What it does mean is this: they are pretty well stock standard, off the showroom floor cars that you can walk in and buy with a ceiling price limit of $30,000 or under, obviously. And so that's what we end up with when we look at the field. We've got some Commodores, some Falcons, and we've got a host of imported material. Japanese cars, the Starions, the RX-7s, the Nissan 280s, the Pulsars, BMWs, the Alphas. That makes up the field. The locally produced machinery hasn't had a lot of success, namely the Fords and the Commodores. Imported machinery's pretty well dominated this category of racing since it was reintroduced in 1981. Of course, it was this type of racing that made the Bathurst car race the classic that it is during the 1960s and the early 1970s. Obviously, there are some small modifications allowed. What are they? Well, they do allow some minor modifications to the exhaust system, not that it matters too much. They obviously allow special brake pads, absolutely necessary under racing conditions. The only other modifications that are allowed are shock absorbers. They're entirely free. The competitors can use what they like to improve handling. But no change is allowed that would improve the performance of the engine. So in that respect, the cars are just as you would drive them out of the showroom floor. As I said, the locally produced machinery, the Commodores, the Falcons, have not had as much success in this category as the imported machinery. Gary Cook, tell us about the Falcon. How does it fare in this category?
Well, it goes very well for what it is. It's a 4-door sedan. We're racing against more or less pure sports cars, but it's holding up very well. We're not far away behind. I think there's only about a second separating the field, so they're going very well.
What about handling? I noticed in practice it seems to be a bit of a handful around the circuit.
Well, we find that it's out-handling the sports cars. It's only the difference in the straight line that they're quicker than us. We find that the longer wheelbase of the Falcon is excellent for this circuit.
What about this series? It's been an enormous input, hasn't it, for motor racing?
I think it's tremendous. I think this should be a national formula. It's so good. It's so close. At Calder last week, there was 38 cars within 1.3 seconds. You can't get much closer than that.
Super Series for production cars. Across the front row of the grid, Brian Sampson on pole position in a Starion, Gerard Murphy in an Alfa GTV6, and Peter Fitzgerald in a Starion. The second row, Colin Bond in an Alfa, Stephen Brook in a BMW. On the third row, Brad Jones, Starion, Kevin Bartlett, Starion, Jim Finico in a Starion. Next row, Barry Jones in a Starion and Gary Walden in an RX-7. We've then got Tony Longhurst, BMW, David Selden, GTV6, Mark Gibbs in a Commodore, John Giddings in a 280ZX, Brian Sampson in an RX-7, Grant O'Donnell in a Starion, Alan Grice in a Nissan Pulsar, Peter Dane in a Falcon, Don Bretland, RX-7, Greville Arnell, Starion, Jim Zerafos, RX-7, Gary Cook, Falcon, Mark Pickett in a Fairmont, Warren Walker, RX-7, Alan Fender, Starion, Wally Francombe, Commodore, Peter Granger, Falcon, Bruce Linton, BMW, Ross Burbridge in an Alfa Sud, Phil Alexander in a Laser, and Graham Babington in a Laser.
There are 30 cars in the race. The distance is 10 laps. 1 Alpha, 2 Starions on the front row. 1 change to the starting order. Barry Jones in a Falcon, not the Starion. And the field is underway. The Mitsubishis have dominated this category of racing since it became so important this year. Fitzgerald, who won at Calder last week, is the man who from the outside of the grid gets the best start. He's leading. He'll have to swing deep across the field. He does, and he has a long lead. It's for the first time. They swing around the bend. Colin Bond back there in third place. Gerard Murphy started from the central part of the grid. 2 alphas up among the 5 stallions. Stallions do dominate, 9 of them in this 30-car field.
Brian Sampson came off pole position in the stallion, but has been shuffled back to 5th position as Fitzgerald goes through and endeavouring to make every post a winner in this race.
Yes, he's got a long lead with half a lap gone as he comes round towards the Speedway Bowl, which will lead him back towards the start-finish line. 2 stallions, then 2 alphas. Colin Bond 4th place, just behind Gerard Murphy. He's hanging on to 3rd there. But it's stallions 1st and 2nd, and as you were saying, the fastest man in practice, Brian Sampson, back in 5th place.
There they go, Fitzgerald, Finico in 2nd spot.
Finico, who started from the 3rd row of the grid. I haven't picked up yet Stephen Brook in the BMW, who began from the 2nd row. He's dropped back a long way, though. He's in 8th place in the white Harrier car. The field scattered across the line, some going to the outside, some to the inside. Colin Bond with a striped nose on the Alpha, deciding the outside's the way to go, and comes up and gets a very good run on the inside there, and he should come out ahead of Gerard Murphy when they emerge from this corner. Fitzgerald still in front. Bond there, puffing smoke as he tried a desperately tight line on the inside there, which might have cost him a little time, depending on just how well he was able to hang on to it. But it's Fitzgerald who's still in the lead, the field flashing through there.
Sampson going through. You can hear the squeak and squeal of the radial ply tyres. Colin Bond in the very distinctively red and white painted GTV6. One of the cars with tremendous potential. Gerard Murphy is off on the infield just behind Bond. He gets back on the track on the Speedway Circle again, but about 6 cars have given him the slip as he does so.
Yes, that was a costly exercise for Murphy. Bond, though, in the meantime, is still holding the Alpha up there in a good place, right behind the pole sitting man, Brian Sampson, who was fastest in practice, just as he was for Calder last week, although Sampson had a very disappointing race there and featured in only 6th place.
So it's Fitzgerald in front in the Starion, followed by Jim Finico, also in a Starion, Brian Sampson in a Starion, and then Colin Bond in the GTV6.
So it's 3 Mitsubishis in the front.
Sampson's got up to 2nd. He's given Finico the slip going into the bottom corner.
Now he's after Fitzgerald, who made a sensational start and really seemed to be running in a separate class to the others. He had so much additional power and was able to put it down so well at the start. Started from the outside of the group. Sampson on the inside should have had the advantage, but Sampson has closing up now and made a lot of ground. In fact, they all have. Finico and then Bond are very close. There's not much in this as far as the first 4 are concerned. Fitzgerald can see how close they are. He's just trailing a bit of smoke there as he locks up a brake. Braking, in fact, desperately late. The rest of the field now pouring through, but it's almost developed into a 4-car race at the moment, with Sampson coming very close up on the tail of Fitzgerald, and he really has made a lot of ground. Let's see what he can do through here.
Sampson trying to make a move on Fitzgerald. Bond behind them trying to make a move on Finico for 3rd spot. So we've got a battle here, 1st and 2nd, and a battle 3rd and 4th.
Well, Sampson is very close behind the cage. You can just see the blue nose wavering round as he goes out, tries to find the way through, and Fitzgerald is covering all of the course, nose to tail. Now, Sampson will certainly move out under braking. Which way will he go? Fitzgerald makes sure he goes on the outside.
Sampson goes wide.
Well, it means he'll try for the inside line on the way out. And that's what Sampson will do. He'll be content to go behind, but watch on the way out of the corner whether he dives for the inside, whether Fitzgerald leaves him a spot. But Sampson himself went pretty wide there. Maybe he's going to try it a little later on. He's a very wily old driver, as Brian Sampson knows his way around those racetracks.
Bond has passed Finico.
Indeed.
So Colin Bond up into 3rd spot.
And just behind this group, we have the BMW of Stephen Brooks.
So he's made up ground after losing it at the start initially. Fitzgerald, Sampson very close, trying every which way he knows to get round. Here they come now onto the Speedway Bowl again. Reverse camber on that corner makes it very difficult to get round there. 6 laps to go when they come round past the start-finish line. This time Sampson again pulls to the outside.
Well, he won't hold that line, but he will try for a very quick dart on the inside, hoping to force Fitzgerald wide. Let's see what Sampson can do. He's playing a real cat and mouse game here. Here he comes right up on the tail. It's 2 Mitsubishis, nose to tail. Fitzgerald goes across the track. There's Bond up on the outside with the striped nose just in front of Finico, but he's a little further back. Again, there's a move there on the side by Sampson, but Fitzgerald will hold the line, but side by side they go down the straight. It's going to be a braking duel, and I don't think Sampson will let go. He'll hang on. He'll move across. That's a pretty desperate late braking, and there's Sampson in front. He said, I've got the line, fella. Just hang on behind me, and let me show you the way around. And round he goes. Bond is in 3rd place, and moving up a little close as well, taking advantage of the great duel between these 2 leading Mitsubishis.
This is a good performance by Brian Sampson. He was among the fastest qualifiers in the first round of the series at Calder, but was put, shuffled back and was not sighted really in the final. and he'll be glad to be in front again, because he was the man that first posted a win in a stallion in this class this season.
Look how close Bond is. He's moved right up almost onto Fitzgerald's tail, and Fitzgerald trying every part of the circuit that looks as though it's got bitumen on it. He's moving across, trying to find the line, but Sampson has the line as they come sweeping around through Motorcraft and down towards Stillwell Corner.
Well,
that's Bond in third place. Bond is closing up. Bond is on the outside, and he's got a good line if he can just get a clear run. These two are so concerned about their own private battle, they probably haven't noticed Colin Bond closing up. He's only half a car length away. And
Sampson nearly lost it there.
No, he went on the inside to try and break the toe. He said, "You're not going to get a toe, funny fella. Do it yourself. You can tow Colin Bond. I'm doing it myself." But the other two are going past him. And in fact, Fitzgerald has gone clear. Look at Bond on the inside there. This corner is going to be desperate. Bond goes on the outside. He's going for the quick line out. Bond will let these two get together. Sampson goes wide. Sampson takes the corner. Bond comes on the outside. He
Fitzgerald's got to the front again.
And
Fitzgerald's through, Bond is second, and Sampson's been shuffled back to third, and now Bond is making a move on Fitzgerald.
And he touches him. There's a squeezing match there. They're hanging on. Sampson coming up in third place. Finico very close behind, but the three in front touching each other as they go around the corner. Fitzgerald then leading from Bond. Sampson behind him. Doesn't like it back in third spot. This is the part of the circuit that suits the Alpha with its fine handling. So each stallion has terrific power, very good standards of handling. But the Alpha may be just a little bit fine around this particular part of the circuit. 4 laps to go when they come across the start-finish line. A sensational battle here between Colin Bond. Fitzgerald leading. Right behind him, not that far back, is Brian Sampson and Jim Finico right on Sampson's tail. It's a 4-car war here at the moment. Can Bond get the power to hold on to the turbocharged Mitsubishi down the straight? It's 6 cylinders of Italian fuel-injected overhead cam motor against 4 cylinders of Japanese turbocharging. At the moment, the turbocharging is winning, and away goes Fitzgerald. Bond just has to hold on. Up on his inside comes Sampson, then another stallion, and Finico's there as well. There are plenty of Mitsubishis around.
In behind that leading quartet, we've got Stephen Brook in the BMW and John Giddings in the 280 ZX having their own private battle for 5th and 6th positions.
Bond is back in third place. Sampson up into second. Fitzgerald still leading. Well,
this is great racing.
What can Bond do? How can he get by? They've just got that slight extra amount of power. No matter how desperately he tries the corner, they hang on with him. And look at Fitzgerald lifting his legs up there as he just goes over the inside of the circuit. Oh! Once again, he's doing it. That's an awkward part of the circuit. And he'll be breathing very heavily for a few moments, saying that was close.
Two-wheel stuff from Peter Fitzgerald as he desperately tries to cling to the lead in this first heat, round 2, the Super Series for production cars. Round the top of the Speedway Bowl, Fitzgerald in front, Sampson making another attempt, Bond lurking in behind them, then Finico.
Bond will be going for a tow down the straight.
3 laps to go.
Bond not quite close to get up behind the stallion to take advantage of the way he'll be parting the air and leaving an unruffled region behind, which will give Bond an advantage. He's just not close enough for that tow. Fitzgerald, too, is just that much clear, and the three of them all look at the outside is the place to go. Now, let's see how quick Bond is through here. It's still Fitzgerald who leads. A great battle is Sampson in second spot. Bond now sweeping up into third place. Finico dropped back a little bit, back in fourth, and behind them in fifth place is Stephen Brook in the BMW.
Oh, great racing this is, really. This is what the whole series is about.
Just behind the BMW, by the way, is John Giddings in a Nissan 280 ZX. So a nice mix of makes here, and a notable absentee from the leaders is the Mazda RX-7, which dominated this category of standard series production cars last year.
Also Alan Grice in the Nissan Pulsar, although he is in fact in about 6th, 7th spot, just behind John Giddings.
And the leading RX-7 is Gary Waldron, who's back there in 9th place. 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go in this 10-lap race. The Bob Jane T-Mart Australian Super Series, $200,000.
Stephen Brook has, I think, must have had a bit of a lose over the back of the circuit in the BMW. He's back and racing, but he's been shuffled back again to about 10th or 12th position.
Here comes Sampson on the inside. He's got the line, so Fitzgerald has to be content. Sampson's gone wide. He's starting, but he holds it. Fitzgerald had to back off, or else he thought he'd be wearing a stallion as a mascot. So it is still Sampson in the lead, but he'll be breathing rather deep in Colin Bond, who tries desperately hard, has to correct a front end slide, and that's rare. But so deep did Colin go that he lost the front when he corrected. He's lost a bit of ground there, but there's no doubt that Colin Bond is trying as hard as he has ever tried.
A lap and a half to go in this race, the first heat, the Super Series. Sampson In front, Fitzgerald.
He's off the road.
He's off the course. He's on the infield, on the grass as they go around the Speedway Bowl. They give him a go by. Fitzgerald now in front from Colin Bond. Sampson getting back on the circuit. Jim Fanico will pass him and take third spot. What a disappointment for Sampson.
Here comes Colin Bond on the outside. This last lap challenge, and Colin Bond trying to make a move to let him go faster here.
Last lap board is out as they go through.
Well, Bond is beautifully placed to overtake. He weaves across the track following Fitzgerald, who's trying desperately to break the toe. He doesn't want to get Colin the advantage of his speed. But Bond is holding on tight. It's all down to braking and cornering now. The flags are out to warn them that there's a car right behind. I think Fitzgerald knows that. He opened up just a slight gap. There's no doubt the Starion does have the legs down the straight. Colin Bond going very hard through the bend there, sweeping round, trying to gain momentum. He's got it. He's going very hard. It will come down to these last few desperate corners. Bond behind. He's got maybe 2 corners to try and put his nose in front. But the road is blocked. Fitzgerald has the pass through there. Bond has to be content to go over the grass a little bit. Hangs on tightly as they come through the last little dog leg before they sweep onto the Speedway Bowl. Bond does a good line there. Out wide, he'll come through very fast. Fitzgerald trying to block the line, and they're now coming onto the loop over the adverse camber. And now away they go. Can Colin Bond get a line through here? Fitzgerald is quick.
Sampson has taken Fanico for third, but the battle is between the first two. Here comes Bond now, trying his last desperate manoeuvre as they go through the final turn. Fitzgerald in front by about 2 car lengths. Can Bond come out of this corner fast enough to catch him before the finish line? I don't think so. Here they come down to take the checkered flag. And it's Peter Fitzgerald in the Starion taking first place. Colin Bond, the Alfa Romeo GTV6 is second. And Brian Sampson, after leading in parts of the race, comes across the line, a disappointed third.